Good afternoon. Yeah, I hope you all enjoying Impact Summit so far. Hope you've been enjoying all the different talks, absorbing all the knowledge, and walking away with something that you could apply today. My name is Moust Camara. I'm a musician, a software engineer, and an entrepreneur. And I'm here to show you how you could use AI to build a real product. So whether you're an engineer or even if you don't have tech skills, how you could go from an idea to a real product. By show of hands, how many people here are excited about the possibilities of what could be created with AI? Okay, keep those hands up if you have a very specific idea that you have in mind that you want to actually build. A very specific idea. Maybe you've had it for a while, maybe you just thought about it. Keep those hands up. All right, keep those hands up if you started building that idea. Okay? Now, keep those hands up if that idea that you started building is live and ready for real users to sign up for right now and start using. Okay, I see one hand up. All right, I see you, Jelani. Yeah. All right, so that gap is what I'm trying to help y'all solve today. How do you go from that idea in your head to a real product? And by real product, I don't mean just a demo. I don't mean just a nice little prototype. Heck, not even just an MVP. I'm talking about an actual app that has real users, real usage, real feedback, and real growth potential. Now, I want to take things back, way back, to summer of 2006 in Jersey City, New Jersey. So in summer, I was just graduating high school in 06. Now, I was a sophomore in high school in 06. My older brother, he was just graduating high school. We decided to go into business. So we had our hand in various ventures over the years. We had a streetwear clothing brand, an e-commerce templates business, and we had a web development agency. So we were actually making good money doing this. We were doing this full-time. Between college classes, I was doing this. Once I graduated college, me and my brother just working on our business. But then in 2017, I went on to take my entrepreneurial skill set that I developed and that mindset. I went on to work in corporate America for JP Chase in New York City. So during that time, I brought a lot of those innovative ideas to corporate. But also, in addition to that, I've always been into making my own music. So I produced hip-hop beats, R&B beats, pop beats, and this was one of my passions while I was developing the business. So then in 2020, I decided to try something different. Let me make an app. So this app that I was building, it was called Lyric Boost. So the initial version of Lyric Boost, it was very simple. It was simply the music artists, rappers and singers, they select the beat, they click the start button, a timer begins, and then they start freestyling to random words that show on the screen. So that was the basic idea. I built it with a tech stack of React and Supabase. And it actually had real users. There was actually people using the app. But as I was building it, I wanted it to be a real platform, with user accounts, with ability to record audio, to write inside the app directly. But I kept getting stuck. So I would make a little bit of progress, and then I would get stuck. A little bit of progress, and then stuck. Over and over and over again. And it was really frustrating. So I decided to shelf the project. Then I moved to Plano, Texas, and after a couple years, ChatGPT is on the scene, and now AI is everywhere, and it's changing everything. So I'm seeing all these startups come up by solo entrepreneurs, solo builders, small teams, sprout up out of nowhere with accelerated building thanks to AI. Even music tech companies. And I'm there thinking, man, maybe I could bring Lyric Boost back. So in 2005, I actually started building again. But this time, things were different. I had a whole new set of tools. And a lot of those problems that used to take me days or weeks, I could handle in minutes. So I was able to go across the tech stack. So not just front-end engineering, I was able to do the back-end, able to do the design, able to do the data, able to handle all aspects of the tech stack, and really handle different parts of this project at light speed. So that was very encouraging. And then now to this day, I was able to bring back the app, launch it currently as a web app and as a mobile app, as a progressive web app, soon to be deployed in the App Store. And this time, it's closer to the vision that I had in mind originally, with user accounts, the ability to record your ideas directly as you're shaping your song, the ability to write lyrics, the ability to refine those and further develop it. So I was very inspired by what I was able to do there. So from seeing that and from the continued momentum that I'm feeling, I want to bring some of that magic to you here. Maybe you have that idea that's burning inside you, or maybe now some of the gears are turning in your head as to what you could build. And I want to be able to help you take that idea and make it something real. So I want to talk about the 3 ways for you to think through and use AI to help build. Those 3 ways you could use AI is as a thinking partner to help you come up with your strategy for developing your app, for planning the business, as a personal dev and design team to build the app up, and then also as a full-scale, multifunctional team to fully build and scale the app. So let's start with the first one, solving existing problems. A lot of times, people kind of want to dive right into these vibe coding tools, want to dive right into the building tools, the building phase. But I want to say, wait, stop right there. Instead of diving right there, right into building, think. What are you building? I want you to create a plan. Who's your audience? What's going to be your approach to solving their problem with this app? How are you going to acquire that audience? And then how are you going to make money selling to that audience and monetizing? So as far as app ideas, just to kind of get the gears turning here, maybe you might want to start a booking app that's for booking beauty care and grooming services. Or maybe you want to start a project management app or a productivity app for for healthcare providers or people who are looking to get healthy and get into fitness. Maybe you want to start an app for corporations and nonprofits to keep track of events that they're planning. So those are just some ideas to just think through. Basically, not thinking that you want to start the next AI thing. Not going, you see all this like, okay, you could do a prompt and then something gets generated real quick, like to answer your question. So not thinking, okay, I have to make an AI thing. Just solve real problems. So you want to use ChatGPT or let's say Perplexity or Claude and have a conversation with it. So you say, hey, this is the idea that I have in mind. This is what I'm thinking as far as who the audience is, how I plan on acquiring them, what my approach is. What do you think about this plan? You know, could you poke holes into this to see if there's any opportunities for me to improve this plan? And don't just accept the initial output. Start iterating. Start asking more questions. Start asking, okay, but what about this angle? What about that angle? Have a conversation as if the AI is your business partner. So as far as building, there's two approaches you could take. There are all-in-one AI app builders, and then you could create your own custom tech stack. As for the all-in-one builders, there's tools like Lovable, Base 44, and then Replit. And then for the custom tech stack, now you could go crazy with this, but my tech stack that I use is VS Code, which is the environment where you're building the code. React, which is the user interface language that I use to build how the app looks. Supabase, which handles the APIs and the database for handling data within the app. And Copilot Agent, which is essentially your AI dev team. So once you have that platform and you're ready to start building, and you know what your plan is, start with one key flow first. Because the thing is, you could be overwhelmed with all of these different flows, like, oh, I need to have payments, I need to have this screen, I need to have profiles, I need to have all that. But just calm down and start with one key flow first. So let's say with the booking app, let's say it's an app to book different service providers. That might just be, here's the grid that shows the different providers. Then you click into select one provider, and then you book that provider, and then check out. So just one flow. Just start with that. Don't worry about all the other adjacent flows. Start with one key flow first. And as you're building, you're trying to figure out the design aspect, and you're trying to figure out the engineering aspect. Now, the old school way would require you to have the design already built in something like Figma, where you might work with the designer or you might put together some sort of design, and then you go to the coding phase. And this process still works, but now with agentic AI and AI capabilities, you can in some ways do these in parallel without drifting. But now there's an approach that you want to take when you do this so that you keep things concrete without making things sloppy, without it giving that vibe code tell where you know that it's like just slopped together with AI. First, you want to choose a component library that your UI is based off of, which is essentially the rules. The rules of how the button looks, how the list looks, how inputs look. And then there's design inspiration. So now the cool thing you could do these days is you could tell, let's say you're using Copilot Agent when you're building. You could tell it, hey, I took a screenshot of these 3 designs. One from this website, I like how the buttons are. Now, this site, I like how the list is, how the user list is organized. This other site, I like another component of it. Take that, put it in your chat, and then describe what stuff you want to take from that to implement to your app. So again, with the booking app example, then it's okay, now build this information with what I told you that I like from these 3 different sites. And then it's almost like you're mixing it, it's like you're cooking. You're putting different ingredients together in a pot and mixing that. And then now you get an output as to building your app according to the information that you gave it. You know, something that I like to think of it, with AI, even though it's very powerful, it can make mistakes. Now, I think a good way to think of it is like, okay, so I have a nephew. He's 5, my brother's son. And he's pretty smart. I would say he's smart. I might be a little bit biased, but he's smart. But now, if we take his intelligence, multiply that by 100, and now I employ him to work for me as a developer. But I don't just employ him. Somehow he has 4 other smart friends, 4 other smart 5-year-old friends that also have super intelligence. So I band them together, and they're my team of designers and developers. So they're super smart, and they could do like just about anything, but they're 5. So they're gonna run around. First, they're focused on their task. You see, wow, these kids are brilliant. But then occasionally they just drift and then just do something else. And it's like, wait, why are you touching this? Why are you getting distracted? Why are you playing around? But they're brilliant. So that's how agentic AI is. It's a band of smart 5-year-olds that could do anything, but occasionally, they get a little bit distracted and you have to kind of rein them in. And that's where you give them different rules and stuff that they have to follow and adjust. You don't get mad that they mess up the first time. You got to keep telling them again, hey, this is the right thing to do. Correct them. And you know that they're going to figure it out. And then it's important to stay organized. So even though you already created the plan and you started building, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So you don't have to sit there in one day or one weekend trying to build the entire app. You can take some of those ideas that you have, start putting them in a project management system, such as Asana or Monday.com. And then even going into Google Docs or something and just write notes as to how you want the app to be. What's the roadmap? What's going to come out in month 2, month 3, a year from now? Because again, this is long term. This is the long run. You have a short-term vision, but then you also have your long-term vision. So you put all that information there, and as you're building, you could start drawing from this information to further develop your app. And then that brings me to this point. Continue iterating. Look, the first version of your app is probably going to suck. It just might. Even with taking all this advice that I gave, you might build something, come back to it and be like, the mobile experience is off. You have to do too many clicks over here. This thing's uncomfortable for users. And that's okay. That's the learning process. You keep iterating. You keep looking at what certain parts could be tightened up, what certain parts could be improved, what other flows and screens do we need to build. So remember, we said start with one flow first. Okay, now what's flow 2? What's flow 3? What's flow 4? So you start building those out. And just like as I said in the previous slide, that you have the plan. Now you have the roadmap as to what things you're going to be building and developing. So it's almost kind of like now it's multiple teams working in conjunction. So you're not only using AI to chat about your plan, and you're not only using it to just build the initial flow, but you start talking to, let's say, your AI project management team, So the AI features in the project management tool that you decide to use. You say, hey, what things should I prioritize in my roadmap? And then get to work on that. Then you tell your AI 5-year-olds that are developing your app, okay, here are the instructions for you. And then you tell your AI sales department that, okay, here's the features that we need to be able to sell to our users, to be able to turn some of that value that we're providing for them into money. So you continue iterating and making your app better and better, building out all those functions. So then now I want to leave you with homework. So today, when you leave and you go home, start with one idea. If you didn't already come here with an idea, hopefully I've inspired you to have an idea in your mind that you feel like you can actually bring to life now. Start with that one idea. Start building this week. But then don't just leave it to a week or a weekend of building. Keep coming back week after week for the next 12 weeks to see what type of app you could build. And you might be able to surprise yourself and build something you thought was out of reach and finally make it a reality. Thank you.